Howdy, happy October. So right now I'm addressing you from the year 2025. I just want to clear that up so there's no confusion later. I shot this unboxing or review video of Duran Duran's album Dance Macabre in December of 2023. Now I had originally hoped to post this as a Halloween episode that year, but I wasn't able to simply because I hadn't received my vinyl copy until the second week of November. Well, I did the video anyway in the last week of December simply because it was my favorite album of 2023. Okay, now a year later, that's 2024 if you're keeping score, Duran Duran released a deluxe version of Dance Macabre featuring 3 new tracks, a new original, The Mask of the Red Death, a cover of ELO's Evil Woman, and New Moon, Dark Phase, which is a reimagined version of their classic hit New Moon on Monday. And these 3 songs are not going to be included in the following review, but they're all awesome tunes. So if you haven't heard this album, be sure to check the deluxe version out so you'll get everything. Now, yet another year later, that's 2025, right now, if you're still keeping score, you may ask why I'm reposting a 2-year-old album review. Well, quite honestly, it gives me a little bit of Halloween season content without me having to work too hard for it. Also, I can't think of a better, for lack of a better term, Halloween party album. It is everything. Dance music, atmospheric, spooky vibes, hard-hitting originals, and some ripping great covers. So, in the few weeks we have left until Halloween, give Dance Macabre a spin. I still listen to this album all the time, whether it's Halloween season or not. So, anyway, here's my review. Howdy, this is a first for String 'em Up. I'm going to do my first album review. Now, I had really hoped to have this up as a Halloween episode, but my package didn't arrive until 2 p.m. on October 30th. In between my afternoon lesson schedule and getting the kids ready for bed and teaching humanities the next day, I wasn't able to get anything in the works in time for Halloween night. However, almost 2 months later, I'm still going to do the review because as we're closing out 2023, I can declare that this is my favorite album of the year, Dance Macabre by Duran Duran. Stick around. Okay, this isn't a real unboxing. I've already inspected everything, but let's just pretend, okay? So here's the cover, featuring actual early 20th century séance photos from a vintage collection which keyboardist Nick Rhodes bought at auction. The insert book features more séance photos. And even a séance agenda. And also notice that the gatefold is actually a Ouija board. Now, hopefully, you'll understand why I wanted to do this as a Halloween episode. And the vinyl itself is translucent galaxy gold. And because I've never bought specialty vinyl before, I'm really excited about that. I think it looks great. Now, also, I haven't bought new vinyl since the early 90s, and I was really surprised when I noticed that both discs are 45 RPM rather than 33 1/3. I wasn't expecting that, but I'm assuming the higher RPMs will result in a higher signal-to-noise ratio and better fidelity, and I wholeheartedly approve of that. Overall, I'm really impressed with the packaging. So I was actually listening to this album for a full 4 days before I got my vinyl, and it's a great record featuring guest appearances by Chic guitarist Nile Rodgers, bassist Victoria DeAngelis, former Duran Duran guitarist Warren Cucurullo. He also played with Zappa, and that's a big plus. And most importantly for me, original Duran Duran guitarist Andy Taylor, and he appears on 10 of the 13 tracks. And for me, it's really worth it because he sounds great. Now, the album has 3 brand new tracks, 7 cover tunes, and 5 reimagined Duran Duran classics. Now, I know that doesn't add up to 13, but one track, Super Lonely Freak, is a medley of Duran Duran classic Lonely in Your Nightmare and Rick James' Super Freak, so that takes care of 2. The playlist for this album was inspired by their 2022 Halloween show from Las Vegas, where they played several spooky themed covers as well as some of their own darker themed material. And apparently the response to the show inspired them to write and record some new spooky tunes, revisit some Duran Duran classics, and record those concert covers to produce an album that deserves to be played at Halloween parties for the next 50 years. So here's the thing. Simon Le Bon sounds amazing. His voice was always top notch, but considering he's 103, he still sounds just as fantastic as he did in his 20s. And that's even after decades of regular touring and recording. But I guess that's actually the long-term side effect of being a crooner from an era which produced mostly shouters and screamers. John Taylor is still the most underrated rock and pop bassist ever. Enough said. Roger Taylor's drumming is a rock, a big old funky rock. And then Nick Rhodes never fails to demonstrate why he's one of the most creative synthesists ever. In other words, Duran Duran still has the goods after all these years. So, what are my favorite tracks on the record? Well, in the interest of time, I'm only going to discuss my 3 favorites in no particular order. However, let me at least mention a few other tunes to be sure to check out. The incredibly funky Black Moonlight, a song about seances and possession and obsession. Billie Eilish's Bury a Friend, and I do not like her at all, but in Duran Duran's very capable hands, this song rules. Also notable is their dancey cover of Talking Heads' Psycho Killer. Okay, so here's the breakdown of my 3 favorite tunes. Spellbound. I'm sure at least some of you watching know that I'm a huge Susie and the Banshees fan. So I'm destined to be partial to Spellbound, and I really am. But on the first listen, I was really taken a bit aback simply because Duran Duran's rendering is built upon a snappy, disco-y, dancey backbeat rather than Budgie's frantic, Motown-inspired drum groove. Also, Andy's guitar parts rock a bit harder than John McGeoch's menacing, minimalist, spiky papercut tone original, but that's not a bad thing because I've always loved Andy's guitar tone. And his loose yet driving hard rock style grooves push this song forward amazingly. All that said, by the second listen I was fully on board. And kudos to Duran Duran for taking on such an iconic signature tune and successfully putting their own spin on it. Simon's vocal performance is convincing and enthusiastic, if a bit different. And the background singers evoke and pay tribute to Susie herself with their interjections of, "We are entranced, spellbound." Final word, this is a top-notch reimagined dance cover of a monumental tribal moment in British post-punk. Am I alone or is the river alive? 'Cause it echoes me, echoes me, I'm waiting for the Nightboat, I'm waiting for the Nightboat. This could be my 4-year-old son's favorite Duran Duran tune. And yes, he knows this album, the Wedding album, and their first 2 records quite well. He's a fan. Now, this isn't so much a reimagined version of the song from their debut album as it is an evolution of the song itself over the years. This is apparently how the band have been playing Nightboat live for a while now. And it's a little less anxious, frantic, and menacing than the original. But that doesn't mean it's lost any of its fear quotient. In fact, the slower tempo might render it a bit more claustrophobic and oppressive sounding than the original. Andy's guitar chords are still littered with white noise and zombie dust. I do miss John's fretless, which sounds amazing on the original, but John always sounds absolutely magnificent. So, there. And Simon's voice is still up for the song's signature whoops and growls. But for me, the clincher is Roger Taylor's Budgie-inspired tribal drumming, which renders this version of the song into something that would sound right at home on the Banshees album Juju. To be honest, The original would sound perfectly in place on that album anyway. I could totally hear Susie singing Nightboat. And this is a monumental evolution of a monumental song. Oh, yeah, if you've never seen it, check out the video for the original version of this tune. It's pretty damn creepy.
If you don't mind, 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 if you don't mind.
Dance Macabre. This is hands down my favorite new song of 2023. There's no other song that's even come close. So back in the summer, I started listening to Duran Duran again after 10 years or so. And then toward the end of September, this song came up on YouTube and Spotify, so I had to check it out. And I was absolutely blown away. A week later, the video dropped, and I was blown away again. It's an absolutely stunning video, so be sure to check it out. Anyway, my son saw it, and he lost his mind too. So every morning, we watched this video while getting dressed, and then we listened to it and Nightboat, the original, on the way to preschool. It was our Halloween month morning ritual. So why is this my favorite song of the year? Well, the mood is half of it. Again, Nick Rhodes is a brilliant synthesist, and his soundscapes are really cinematic, foreboding, and striking. Also, as Andy Taylor plays guitar on the track, it just feels like a real Duran Duran track. His dry, dusty, overdriven tone and loose, funky yet rocking lines drive the song hard without ever taking over. So, does that mean that Andy is a tasteful, considerate guitarist? Is that even a real thing? But probably my favorite aspect of Dance Macabre is the way it builds through the form. It's a simple repeating A, B, C, D song form with a semi-spoken, some people have said rapped verse, a pre-chorus which is catchier than most full-blown choruses. It has an epic full tilt over the top chorus, and then it's all capped off by a sublime understated post-chorus. Also, the second verse mentions Kids and Kiss makeup, which just makes me really happy because I've been a Kiss fan since I was 5. And to top it all off, the track is just dark, Halloween-y, and it just sounds so damn good. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what I do. Hit the notification bell so you'll always know when a new episode drops, and feel free to leave comments or any suggestions for any topics you might like to see in some future videos. Also, check out my other channel, Live from the Stairwell, and check out some 100% live unplugged performances from, you guessed it, my back stairwell. Also, keep your eyes open for String 'em Up Shorts, where I address various good guitaring ideas in under a minute. My name's Dave Holland, and thanks for watching String 'em Up. Have fun, stay safe, Happy New Year, and I will see you in 2024.